All right, now I'm sitting here with two of my favorites on this year's Sweden Rock Festival in total. It's Steve and Jim from FM. I'm honored to be here with them. I'm starstruck actually, more or less. No, we just sat down and chat, and I told them old stories and stuff. And now we're here.
We are.
You just came here, did
Great.
you?
We literally just got off the plane about 2 hours ago. Yeah. But it's great to be here. What a lovely day.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
How many years were you here?
Oh man.
2011.
2000.
Yes.
Wasn't it?
No, 13, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure.
Yeah. Sweden is really a big venue for you as a country, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it is. It's I've done other things out here, but it seems to be a market for our kind of rock music, more melodic rock out here, you know, which is great for us. So we always try and come to Sweden when we're touring in Europe, and we love coming here. It's brilliant, beautiful country.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's been FM even since the old days, like with that girl and all that stuff. It's been.
Well, the first ever European tour we came to Sweden.
Yeah, exactly.
And we've done Christmas shows here years ago in Malmo, and it's one of our favourite places to play. And I'm not just saying that, because the audiences are great. It's brilliant. You know.
Yeah, the only country that doesn't understood your stuff was the United States of America.
Well, they understood it. I mean, we went and played there last year, and it was amazing. People came from all over America, and it wasn't. I don't think it was the fans. We have fans there. We just had a record company that wanted to keep us touring around the UK because they thought we were going to do better there. And a bit of conflict between the American company and the British company. We couldn't actually get out there, could we?
No.
So
That's changing now.
Changing now. Everything's good now. We're going to go back, do some more stuff. But the reaction was great when we did eventually get there.
All right. Because if we should talk about the States. After the fantastic Industry album that came out in 86, and I should say success because it was a success.
It was, I mean, I spent a lot of time in America then because it looked like it got on the top 100, Frozen Heart, the first single. I was out there for maybe 2 months doing press and various things and writing with various people. And then this thing started. We were signed in the UK. The American company said if they're going to come out here, we want to take the reins and guide them through their America. And it never happened. I don't know why, but it just never happened.
No. And then you did a Tough It Out album. And you thought about the American market, I think, or at least the record company did. And you brought in Neil Kernon and you brought in Desmond Child and all these people. And it didn't happen. Was it the record? Was it the bad timing, or what happened back then?
I would say it was timing. And towards the end of the 80s, and music was changing and getting heavier and whatever. There's a bit of that going in, like Steve just said, internal politics between the record companies and things like that. And we're actually celebrating 30 years.
Yeah, that's where I'm coming in because it's 30 years now. Is it the Tonight Show is going to be?
No, end of the year we're going to go out and play the album in its entirety.
Okay.
With a few other different songs. We did a few of those shows with the Indiscreet.
I know that.
The Indiscreet album, and they were so well received. But we only did about, what we do, Jim, 5?
Yeah. 5
in total, just 2. We did 1 in Sweden, and 3 in the UK. And it just was so well received that the management said, Top of That was probably one of our biggest records sales-wise.
Yeah, of course.
We feel we owe it to the album to do that.
Yeah. So when it's that happening?
End of the year.
End of the year, December.
We've got a great bill. We did it with Dan Reed, who's a friend of ours, and Gone. Do you remember Gone?
Yeah.
So that's the bill. It's called The Big Three. It's a bigger venues and it's selling
fantastic.
So well. So it's going to be an exciting.
Are you coming here as well?
We're trying to.
Or is it UK?
That would be UK at the moment.
Do we have to go to the UK? Because I'm going.
It's only UK.
I'm going.
So it's the UK at the moment, but it may. We talked about to Europe,
because it's a good bill.
It's a great bill.
We do well here.
Yeah.
But all 3 bands get on really well. That's a good thing. Because 30 years of Dan Reed's Slam, 30 years of Guns' first album, so we're all celebrating.
Sweden, for some reason, Dan Reed was big here.
Yeah.
And Gun was quite big here as well, for being. They didn't break through big time, but still, Gun was a
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big name.
So it would be a great thing to have.
Yeah. Well, there's also all three bands are big in Spain. We do well in Spain and places like that. So it's definitely worth thinking about taking it out across Europe. We've talked to the management about it, but at the moment they're concentrating on the UK. We'll just see how we go.
Yeah, we'll go there. So see you.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
good.
Okay.
I like to hear that.
no. Well, I'm going to see on a tour in the US to see Rick Springfield, Kenny Loggins. Do you remember New England?
I do, yeah. Yeah.
And Survivor in October.
Is that one
I'm just
bill?
going.
One bill?
Now it's 4 days in a row actually.
Yeah.
Just going to discuss with my wife.
Yeah. We did a gig with Rick Springfield about, we did Lorelei.
Yeah.
Really good. Really
He's still
excellent.
fantastic.
Yeah. Great songs, aren't they?
All right, back to FM. We talked about new album before we put this camera on. What's happening? Are you in the making of an album?
We are. Obviously, we're very busy. We've got like another 10 festivals to do, I think. And then, so we were in and out of the studio. We've been bobbing in and out. We've probably got 10, 12 songs already. But
we haven't stopped really. Whenever obviously we're going to get ready for live gigs, but when we're not, then we're writing
in the studio,
album, whatever. So it's an ongoing thing. We want to be ahead of ourselves with the material and all that. So,
we only finished a tour a month ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
We did a tour a month ago, about 9-10 shows. So then we try and get back in the studio, which we managed to do. And we just like to keep the two things working side by side. Because if you're in the studio all the time, you get bored, you want to go out and do gigs, and vice versa. If you're doing gigs, you get back in the studio. So we just try and keep it all rolling,
Because at the moment we're kind of promoting the Live in Milan album. So that's what we're promoting, this section, and then we're right ready for next year.
Yeah.
Trying to be like there's a plan, of like a 5-year plan, if you like. So.
Talk about the Live in Milan.
That seems like
ages. I've forgotten about that.
It was a year ago.
Yeah, it was about a year. Last year we did the Frontiers Festival, like we had done a couple of times before. It's a great festival for us, and
you're headlining.
Yeah, they wanted us to do a live album, so we said, we're going to do a live album. Let's do it at your festival. It makes sense. There's a great market out there for us. So
Serafino is a big fan, so he wanted
Yeah, he is a big fan. So we that's what we did, and it came out great. We hadn't done a proper live album, really.
No.
Especially not with any of the newer stuff on it. So we tailored the set so that it was like no live tracks, really, not many that people got those versions.
No.
So and it's been fantastically received. So that's the live album out of the way now for a while. Back in the studio.
I think the last studio album, you went back a little bit more to the AOR.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
Was it?
Not intentional. No. We just write songs. Honestly,
Because I was surprised and I was happy because of
lots of people were. Yeah.
So it's the new album.
Yeah. It's a bit of that again. It's just what's coming out of us now. We kind of going back to that because melodic rock seems to be getting a new lease of life anyway.
Yeah. Solid base of fans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're kind of going back to that again. I mean, not intentionally. It's just what we're writing.
Yeah.
This is going to be. It's a good varied record again. So, but there is a bit of leaning towards that. Again.
Who's going to produce the same?
Same deal.
Same deal.
Yeah. And then we'll see what happens. We sort of, as Jem just said, we've got a plan for how we want to do the next 5 years. God willing, So we're this album's going to be your FM record that we do with Jeff. We'll produce it, and we're about 6 tracks in. They're all mixed, so we've got another 5 or 6 to go in the studio.
Yeah.
And we'll probably do 20 tracks. We do for every album.
That's what we do, and then just pick the best for the album. But nothing gets lost, because as you know, when we release an EP, it's not just the 3 songs on it. It's like another little
mini album.
So nothing gets lost. But we have really high standards on our music. We want the album to be the best it could possibly be.
AOR stands for album orientated rock, or is it American orientated rock?
Is it adult orientated?
Yeah, exactly. Adult American album. You don't know, but
I have
still,
no idea.
for me, it's album orientated rock because it was albums.
Yeah, it was.
For me, and it just
What is interesting is we do, when we put the song out together, we're still old school, so we'll actually structure it so that when you put the vinyl on, it's first track.
Yeah.
Because people don't think of it anymore, really.
You know, how do you finish side one and what do you put
know.
on the start? And we still, I mean, although things have changed, to us, the artwork is so important. Everything has to be done how we want it. And it's, you know, the photographs, even though other people never see the album cover because they just download it, but it's like, to us, we still approach every record exactly the same. The artwork, what the sleeve notes are, when people used to open the sleeve notes and read them, the information, that's still important.
It's important.
Yeah.
The joy is now, vinyl's coming back, not as it was, but it's great for us to see the album covered and presented to us.
Yeah.
So really, well, it's the best way to do it, because if you are playing the vinyl, it scans.
If I said to you in 2003 that vinyl is going to be more or less bigger than a CD, you should probably...
Yeah.
And Frontiers are great because they always
want to do vinyl.
Run a vinyl.
Yeah.
No, the fans of AR and hard rock and is really loyal.
Yeah.
Oh, they are. Yeah.
I like that. I mean, I like to physically own the thing rather than download it. You know,
It's a possession. It's a possession of record, isn't it? You know, and the same amount of work goes into it, whether you buy the album or you download it, whatever. You may as well. To me, it just seems like you want to own it. I want to own the record.
You sit there, you look at the album, first you listen to the music. That's what we all used to do, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's a problem with the new way of listening, because you tend to release single after single so it can be on the playlists on Spotify and Apple. And people listening to playlists instead of albums.
Yeah.
And it's a pity, because album for the new generation is not important. They don't know what an album is. The new generation.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a song. My son will have a song by a band.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean he'll then go out and buy all the records to follow them. He just likes that song. I mean, he came home one day and said to me, "Dad, I've heard this great new band."
Yeah.
He said, "Yes, brilliant." He said, "It's a song called The Boys Are Back in Town."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "They're not called Thin Lizzy by any chance." He said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, they're a new band, yeah."
Hey, it's a new band. Can I ask you something before we go any further? I have some, I think it's not demos, Steve. It's actually a recording. I think it was by the end of the 80s, what was supposed to be a third album after Tough It Out.
Right.
A real solid AOR stuff.
Yeah.
What is supposed to be an album with that material?
Can you name one of the songs?
Not in my head for the moment, but I have some.
We wrote a lot when, basically at the end of Tough It Out, obviously my brother left the band.
Yeah.
We were going through a transitional period. So we just went into a studio in Winchester and recorded loads and loads of songs. We're trying to find our way, what we're going to do now that he'd gone, because obviously he was the main writer with me. And that will be what that is. That will be songs that didn't make Tough It Out.
So it wasn't supposed to be an album, it was,
No,
you didn't know what to do.
Yeah, we were just trying to find our way, we were going to go heavier. And we had, at the top that time, we also had about 5 or 6 of the songs that went on Aphrodisiac.
Yeah.
Already written.
Alright.
But they didn't go on Take It to the Streets because, as I say, we were a bit like, what do we do now? For a little while, you know. We didn't have a regular key. Dig then, we were doing a tour in Europe, decided that we got Andy in, the new guitar player, but we still didn't know what we were going to do. We were sort of all over the place, but we signed a new deal. We did, it's a very strange period for us. CBS, Epic wanted to carry on. We didn't want to carry on with them because we'd had all those years with them and we were just doing this. Well, at that time.
And you came into a more bluesier period as well.
Sorry?
Doing more blues here.
Yeah, a bit bluesier, and then we kind of went a bit heavier with Aphrodisiac, and then Jem came in and we changed again, and we like to think, I mean, even now, it's all about the next record for FM. It's not about Bad Luck and That Girl, although, thank you for those songs, because, that's why we're here, but, it's all about what we do next, is the most important.
Yeah, you don't want to keep repeating.
No.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong.
So we need to, and And we just write. Well, like I say, at the end of the day, we just write songs.
But with the last album, you proved that you still can write really strong AR stuff.
Yeah. That was just what came out.
I don't say that the bluesier stuff was bad for FM because it was another. I shouldn't say another band because it wasn't another band, but it was still
just a slight offshoot, and it always sounds like FM if you got the band playing it and me singing it. So, as I say, we've even done tracks that are slightly leaning towards country rock, haven't we? We've done all sorts of stuff, and we just some of it's pop, some of it's really heavy, like Digging Up the Dirt and Bad Black Magic, and it's like we don't really ever sit down and say we need one of those songs. We just write songs and then see what we have at the end.
It's true. No, but regarding your stuff, again, sorry. You're in a lot of different, should I say, projects, singing. It's like I just wrote down some Lone Rider, Groundbreaker, Ozone, Overland, of course. I know this.
What they are things are basically when FM weren't together for a lot of years. I still made records, and I'm lucky. I get asked to make records, and I get to work. I mean, Lone Rider was a massive thing for me because I got to work with Simon Kirke from Bad Company again. I do a
kind of good guy.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah. And we wanted to make this record. Simon flew from America. I had him made, and I want to make this 70s style blues rock album. Bad Company free. Two of my biggest influences as bands. So I got Simon Kirke to play on it. I was very lucky because I know Simon and Chris Charles from Thunder on bass. It was just a great rhythm section, and we made, in my opinion, what would have been the next great Bad Company album. I love the album. And
it's a pity that it didn't.
Yeah, well, it's only just come out. Which
but
doing some dates.
there isn't that many people that are aware of it.
No, out here, in England, it's been really well received.
It's early days. We were talking. Funny enough, we were talking about
on the way down, weren't we? And we're talking about keeping this thing going. Simon is on the road with Bad Company in America doing the readers with Little Skinny, but he keeps emailing me saying the reviews of this album are amazing.
Cool.
He wants to come over and do some shows. So that's a plan. But at the moment, FM are it's getting. When Chris is not on the road with Thunder, when Simon's not on the road with Bad Company, when I'm not on the road with FM, it's like it's hard. It's hard to plan. But we're working on it at the moment.
But it was good that we talked about it then, because everyone who's watching this little interview will look into it.
They now will know.
Yes. Do you have any other projects yourself?
No, I'm still doing some bits and bats, but I'm not going to talk about that.
Let's stick with it. Should we just do a fun game, or what should I say? I will name all the albums, and you just say one or two sentences
about the album.
Yes.
Okay.
To see what happens.
Okay.
If I say Indiscreet.
Great debut album for us, did really well and got us on the map. It got us started. So, that's it.
Yeah. Tough It Out.
30 years this year when it comes out, so celebrating that by touring it by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Taking It to the Streets.
Transitional album. For me, that's probably my least favourite FM record.
Was it because of the grunge era and you didn't know where?
Too, and obviously we saw the change in music, so it was very much a transitional period for the band. We weren't quite sure where we were at that time. So it's an album I don't really play, or I don't play, but we make new records now. So, but people loved it. So it's like but my least favourite FM record.
And then it's Aphrodisiac, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
What about it?
That was basically when we got back on our feet. We knew what we wanted to do.
Cracking tunes on there.
Great songs.
We still put it in the set today, so.
Yeah.
We were back on it. Aphrodisiac. It did really well in Japan. It was all of a sudden FM were back on the map.
Hard Day in Hell.
Yeah.
And then Dead Man's Shoes.
That was a strange album because we were kind of at that point, we've always been friends. When we broke up, we mutually agreed it was time. There was never any thought.
The music business was changing.
Yeah. But that album was that period when we were thinking, where can we go now?
There's some great songs on there. I found I was talking about this the other day, but the production isn't there on that
No.
We feel, you know. There's still some good tunes on there.
Good
But it was that's just showed the music business at that period of time, and that's how we all felt. That's the reason why we took a break. So
I think
you know what? Well, let's have a
break.
Step back.
We didn't know how long for. We made no plans. We just said we need to have a break. And I think Dead Man's Shoes shows that we were a bit unsure of our future, what the future held for us when we made that record. You know.
And then we have the Metropolis album.
Yeah.
The comeback album. Yeah.
Yeah, the comeback album. That was a funny one because none of us were sure. Were we? We made the album, and when you've been away that long, you're a bit like, should we just spend another year making it? See if we can make it better, because you're so nervous about releasing your first album after being away for 11 years.
Yeah.
We'd done the gigs, they'd sold out, we knew that we started the popularity there, but it was like, is it good enough? Is it right? You're never sure, right? You're never sure what people are going to write about it. So we just, in the end, just had to say, put it out and see what happens, and that's what we did.
It's like when an artist having an exhibition, he doesn't want to be, or she doesn't want to be in the exhibition, seeing what people think about his paintings.
No, that's it. That's it. You know, it was definitely. We thought we'd made a great album, but we weren't sure.
But it was well received.
It was very well received.
And then we had Rockville 1 and 2.
Rockville 1 to I think that's got some really great songs on it. Some people thought it was a bit light for FM. I like it as an album. I think there's some great tunes on it. Rockville 2 was basically the songs that we had. We'd recorded lots of songs.
We write too much. But
Yeah.
And we didn't want to waste it, so we thought, okay, let's just do.
Yeah. You know, some people heard these songs that we didn't put on the album and said, I like that better than some of the songs on the album. So we ended up with a record company, everybody saying, why don't you just put a second album there? So we did that.
In the old days, it'd be a double album, you know.
Yeah. And Heroes and Villains.
Very big album for us again. They're very well received record. I mean, unbelievably well received. Once again, I don't think there's any album that we've made since we came back that when I go back to it, I'm not proud of.
No.
I think we did our best on all the records. I think they're all of a very high standard. They're well produced. And I think the main thing with it is the standard of the songs. They have to be great songs with great choruses and hooks.
Yeah.
And I think we've achieved that on all the records. Some people have favourites, but we just have a very high benchmark when it comes to songs, which is why so many get left off.
Yeah.
You know, and we're wrong sometimes. I'm sure if we played you some of the songs that we didn't find, you'd say, why didn't that go on the record? But you know, we trying to make that decision as we make the record.
Indiscreet 30.
Well, this was an album that I didn't want to do it. Did I?
No,
I was dead against it.
Was it Serafino's idea?
No, it wasn't. It was actually the management's idea, because the production on Indiscreet we weren't particularly happy with when we made it, and it's of its time, and now the bands sound totally different. And people heard us playing That Girl, and fans actually said it'd be great to hear the new band making a record of the Indiscreet, because Indiscreet's like an iconic album for FM fans. It always will be. So we just put down That Girl, and we thought it does sound different, and that's what happened. So we ended up doing the album, and I was sitting there when we done it.
It's a massive risk.
I was like,
that's a massive risk.
Yeah, I was a bit like
doing a classic album again.
I'll say, when we put it out, they just come and say, why have you done this? Why have you done this? The originals are the best. But it wasn't that way. It was, some people prefer the new, some people still prefer the old. So that's fine.
But we didn't upset anybody by doing it. It's like they could see why we did it. But
I changed the vocals a little bit to make it different to the original. Some of the melodies and the licks and all that were different.
But the most amazing thing, sorry about my English, is that you sing. You can't hear that you're. How many years is it?
Old.
It's fantastic.
Thank you.
Your voice is.
Thank you.
It's amazing.
Thanks.
Yeah. And then we're up to Atomic Generation.
Yeah.
What about it?
Atomic Generation again. We took a long time. We always take a couple of years to make a new record, because we do mess around. We're always like, maybe we should do another 3. Because we always think we can do better. Every new song that comes through, that's the best song we've got. It's not, but we think it is. It's a new song, So I love that album. I think it's great. It's got some great songs on, you know, like it's a highway, all those, some great songs on.
Yes.
You know, so and we play a few of them in the set now. They've kind of found they become fan favourites. So that's how you gauge an album, I think. If the fans like it, that's what's important. It's, you know, we write it, produce it, perform it. It's all about what they like.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you know.
You know, when I'm going through all these albums, you know, I was thinking, why haven't you done a real good box set? You know, with all the stuff we talked about after the Tough It Out and all the stuff that you have been recording.
It's a good idea.
Because
I mean, and peppered in between all of those albums there are EPs.
Loads of songs, unreleased songs.
It's like mini albums in there.
For me,
so much product.
It should be such a great box set.
Yeah.
We never shortchange. If you didn't bring out an EP, we don't, like I said to you earlier, we don't do 2 to 3. There's usually about 7 or 8 tracks on there.
And there are no demos. They're all recorded in the same studio. It's always proper recorded.
So for me, it would have been such a great box.
Well, that's great. Hopefully Serafino will watch this then.
Yes. I will mail him.
Yeah.
Now, you know, in the first, you know, albums you always had this captured and all that sort of stuff. You know, it's you love to do these B-sides. So I can imagine how much stuff there is.
It's quite amazing. You know, we keep finding songs. You know, we found this song called "Fight for Our Lord," didn't we?
Yeah.
Which we wrote for Top It Out, and you can tell it's written for Top It Out.
You know.
And it's never been out. And we found it and played it to the management, and they're like, "It's a great song, this."
This is killer news for me.
Yeah.
There is stuff from.
Yeah.
You must Serafino. For people who doesn't know who Serafino is, he's the guy who owns Frontiers.
He's the man, yeah.
Who is the guy who
He's the boss.
produced all the AR for Europe, and now he's a good guy. All right, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you very much.
And it will be a pleasure to see you tonight.
Thank you very much. It's been our pleasure.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you.